So, when we think about syndication, maybe first defining, or how we define syndication, it's any ad view or any video view that's happening outside of your owned and operated property. So if you're pushing your content onto YouTube or to Yahoo or AOL or Grab Media, we define that as a syndicated view. And what we've seen, when we think about our customer base, we divide them into two groups. So one is the TV programmer / MVPDs. So these are guys that are coming from a linear legacy. And then also the digital pure plays. So these are companies that only operate in IP environments. And what's interesting when you look at those two groups is these digital pure plays have focused a lot more historically on syndication. So, a year ago they were around 75% of their volume was coming from syndication, whereas the TV guys, about 1% was coming from syndication because they were focusing a lot more on their owned and operated properties and building their own apps. Over time, over the past 5 quarters, we've seen that slowly start to converge, where the TV programmer / MVPDs, they now have 10% of their volume being syndicated, and the digital pure plays has come down actually to about 63%. So what that says is that both sides are sort of learning from the other, meaning you need to have your owned and operated properties, but you also need to, at the same time, leverage the audience of partner sites to really build the scale necessary to kind of make digital video more like what you see on TV. So when we think about ad load, we think about it in terms of both long form and short form content. So when we talk about long form ad loads, it's videos that are 20 minutes plus. What we've seen over the past couple of quarters is that ad loads have gone steadily up. They're up 30% year over year, to a point where on average you're seeing about 12 ads per video now. What's interesting is that even though the ad loads have gone up and people are actually seeing more and more ads in a 30-minute show or an hour-long show, the ad completion rate has stayed almost completely flat at around 90–91%. So people are still engaging with ads at a very high level, even though they're seeing a lot more of them, which is a great story for the industry, and I think will push more programmers to bring long-form content online, and also a lot of the digital pure play guys are going to start making their own long-form content. So we're going to see long-form coming from many different providers. I think when we also think about long-form, we also think about in short-form content for ad loads. We think about how many pre-rolls you see per video, or how often you're seeing a pre-roll. And right now it's at about 50% for both publisher groups. So you're seeing about an ad every other video viewed. And right now it's about, again, those completion rates have stayed high, but it's about how do you manage that going forward, and what's the right level of ads to show someone before they get turned off from your content. When we think about authentication, it's really signing in on an app to get access to content, and our platform allows you to monetize that through ads. What we've seen this quarter is a actually pretty dramatic spike in the percentage of our volume that's coming through authentication. So right now, just about 15% of our ad views on long form are coming through authenticated platforms, which is a good story in that authentication is kind of arriving now. And now the question is going to be, does this enable programmers to bring more and more long-form titles online and increase long-form monetization? I think the other big story will be around live. So we've seen a lot of growth in live streaming over the past couple of quarters, and a lot of that is driven by authentication. So you have authenticated apps you can watch a sports event on. That's growth that we expect to continue at very high double-digit rates going forward.